Hey guys, what's up? JDoZ back here again with another Vikings video, and we are finishing off the rest of the NFC North all in one for free agency. I didn't think the Lions and Bears warranted their own video because they haven't done a whole lot of enough to warrant their own. So I thought we would just put them all into one, starting with the Lions, who of course flirted with first place in the NFC North for the longest time. The Vikings started out undefeated, and the Packers had their slump early in the year. Then when the Vikings got the losing streak, all of a sudden the Lions got bumped up into first. But then the Packers got super hot at the end of the year, and the Lions kind of fell off. So now here they are. It could be a really big make it or break it year for the Lions. So let's see how they did in free agency. So starting off with the players that they got, if you're new to how I do this, I take all the new incoming free agents, I add up all those scores, I take their Pro Football Focus grade, divide it by 10, then round up to the nearest whole number, and then we subtract the players they lost. So let's start with the first player on the Pro Football Focus list, Cornelius Washington, a 63.3 grade, which will be a 6 on my scale, and he was an inside tackle. He's a 27-year-old from the Bears, so it's a solid situational player there. Next is Akeem Spence. He's a 39.2, another inside guy from the Bucks. 39.2, but he's 25 years old, so assuming the Lions think he has potential, but it's only a 4 on my scale. Darren Fells, 65.5, tight end from the Cardinals. Pretty solid there. That's a 7. Next is Paul Warlow, a 71 linebacker from the Falcons. I think he's a solid guy there. He's probably going to be Levy's replacement, as you'll see later on. He is off their team as they cut him earlier in free agency. So now we have to add another 7. And now we go to Jordan Hill, 43.6, another inside guy. 43.6 will be a 4 on my scale. And then they re-signed 2 of their own players, Curly Thornton, 39.9, another inside guy, so another 4. Now this one's kind of tough. The next guy is Don Malabak, as he didn't play last year, as Pro Football Focus has him at a not available on his rank. He's a long snapper. He's 36 years old, so he's really old and very replaceable. And it's a long snapper, but long snapper is a really important position. You don't want to mess that up. But we'll give that one a 3. So now, to the biggest acquisition they got, stealing one of the best players on the Packers, the best guy on their O-line, one of the most versatile guys in the league. TJ Lang, he can play both guard and tackle. A very good guy. 87, so that's a 9 on my scale, almost perfect grade there. And DJ Hayden, a cornerback from the Raiders, 48.6. That's another 5. And now one of the player I wanted the Vikings to get it the most landed in Detroit. Ricky Wagner from the Ravens. He's 27 years old. He's going to fill that tackle position up for a long time. 84.5 is going to be an 8 on this scale. So there we have it. The final score of the total players that they re-signed for the Lions is 57. So now let's get to the players that they lost. And this will be starting with Andre Roberts. He went to the Falcons. He had a 61.3 grade. So we'll subtract 6. Tyron Walker. He went to the Rams, a 46.4 grade. So we'll subtract another 5. Probably the biggest loss, but filled in by a very good guard that they got from the Packers, TJ Lang, is Larry Warford. He's an 81.5, so that's an 8 on my scale, so you subtract another 8. DeAndre Levy, of course, got cut. And then we look down the list. The only other player that left their team is Riley Reef, that went to, of course, our Vikings. And that's a 67.5, so you subtract another 7. Which gives the Lions a total score of a really, really impressive 31 on my big board. And you see all these other players are still out there. All these unrestricted free agents and one restricted free agent, and Cornelius Lucas is all still available. So it's going to be very interesting to see where will they all go. So there's still a lot of points on the board. Like I said, there's DeAndre Levy, who's a 77.3. Raphael Bush is 73.3. Antoine Bolden, who tortures the Vikings all the time, is 70.3. So those are a lot of points down the board, but a 31 score is really, really impressive. Will bring him number one, the best team in free agency and the NFC North this year. So I think if you are a Lions fan, you should be very happy. So now let's go and look at how well the Bears did. All right, so now we got to the Bears. Can they beat how well the Lions did in free agency and get the number one spot? Well, let's see. The Bears are, of course, in the cellar of the NFC North, and they cut Jay Cutler. This is going to be a new rebuilding period for the Bears, but let's see how well they did in free agency. Let's start with their own players that they re-signed. CJ Wilson, inside tackle, 75.5. That's an 8 on my scale. Chris Polinsky, a safety, is 70.9. That's another 7. Chris Cush, a 69.6 center. That's another 7. Deontay Thompson, a wide receiver, 28 years old, 68.2. That is another 7. Jonathan Banks, a cornerback. These are all players they re-signed, of course. 57.4, which is be a 6. And the last player they re-signed is their own kicker, Connor Barth. It's hard to say how good he's going to be. It's not like I was injured, didn't play last year. He's 31 years old. He's a kicker. If they re-sign him, I assume he's okay, but he's probably somewhat on the bubble. I'll give him a 5 just because it's hard to play, so I'll give the Bears a little bit of love. And now, let's look at the other players that they stole off other teams, starting with their new quarterback, Mike Glennon from the Buccaneers, at 69, which is a 7. Then they got Marcus Cooper, a cornerback from the Cardinals, 45.5. So that's another 5. Mark Sanchez from the Cowboys, that's a pretty troll move. That's another 5. Deion Sims, a tight end from the Dolphins, 59.3. It's a 6. Tom Compton, tackle from the Falcons. He's another 5. Prince Akamara. I probably didn't say that right, but he's from the Jaguars. He's probably the best player they got in free agency. I think that is correct. He's a 76.6, which is an 8 on my scale. And now Benny Cunningham, a halfback from the Rams. He's a 60.2, so that's another 6. John Jenkins, 44.8, another tackle. That's another 4. Marcus Wheaton, 49.7, wide receiver from the Steelers, 26 years old. Got some potential there. That's a 5. Quentin Demps, another good player they got in free agency. Maybe their best, topping out Prince. He's a 85.2 safety, very, very good. 32 years old, so a little bit up there in age, but nothing too hard to worry about. 85.2, it's a 9 on the scale, nearly perfect. And now, ending it out, Kendall White, 74.6 wide receiver, 27 years old. That's another 7. So the Bears have a very, very big score of 152. Past Josie was wrong. It was actually 105, so disregard what I'm going to say later on in this video. I think that's the highest score before we deducted the players they lost. So let's see if we can get to there. Alright, so let's start and look at the players that they lost, starting with 2 of their backup quarterbacks. First is Brian Hoyer. They're both going to the same place. All 3 of these first guys are all going to the 49ers. Matt Barkley, or Brian Hoyer, that's who I was on, is at 81.1. I think they should have kept him. 31 years old. He's an 8, so he's 8. Matt Barkley, he's 27. That's a 73, so that's a -7. And now the last player that went to the 49ers, Logan Paulson, a tight end. He's a 52.6, so that's another -5. So now we go down and we look at the first player, Ted Larson, 72.3 guard, so that's a -7. Alshon Jeffrey, the guy the Vikings were kind of going after. I thought he had a higher grade than this, but he's only 77.6. He went to the Eagles. That should be a very fun connection down there. 77.6 is a 8 on my scale, so still very respectful. Now, tackle, Cornelius Washington. Going to the Lions, of course, we just covered that, 63.3. That's a -6. And that covers the Bears free agency. And if I didn't do anything wrong, I'll put it up on the screen, of course, if I did. I'll have to redo the math because this is extremely high. Gave him 111 points. Believe me, I can actually count, okay? The final score was actually 64 to redo it, but it's still really respectable. So what I'm going to say at the end of this video, it still stands true. So enjoy the rest. So feel free to disregard the audio if that's wrong. I'll double check this when I'm editing the video. But from what it stands, the Bears have the best, but I'll make sure we redub it, and I'll put the list of all the teams listed as how well they did on the screen right now. But otherwise, that does it. So free agency is pretty much over as far as the main rush. I'll make sure to talk about the players the Vikings assign after the draft. That's the next wave, is when they fill in the gaps of the players that they still need after the draft. And of course, I'll give you guys some draft coverage when that all happens in a couple more weeks. So otherwise, this is JoZ, and we'll see you guys in the next Vikings video. See ya.